with this weird Michael McIntyre impression. Give me, by way of cheer, how many people here either have or are in the process of getting a PhD? How many people aren't? See how much happier we sound. I'm not a PhD student or a professor of anything, could you tell? I graduated 2 years ago, not even from a real university, right? I went to Leeds Met. I think we could all agree it used to be Little Acorns Nursery and it got upgraded, right? No, it was a good university to go to. I am a proper comedian like that. This is what I do for a living now, which is sort of the only thing you can do with a degree from Leeds Met. Did anyone here go to Leeds Met? That is the correct reaction. Who laughed at that? Who was it? Don't apologise.
Asked that after making fun of them all for a while.
Yeah, did you go there?
No.
Did you go to Leeds University, or
Yes.
are you going there? Whereabouts are you in your academic career?
I did a science degree at Sheffield University.
Oh, that's a good one.
It is a good one.
I didn't mean to sound that surprised, I'm sorry. No, because I studied psychology, right, at Leeds Met. Is anyone here in doing psychology or studying it or professor of it or anything? You're all real scientists. Right, I mean, what she did was funny because it wasn't forced. What you've done is openly mock my choices. No one asked you. No, it's lovely to be here. We're all having a good night, guys. It's been great. No, I did study psychology, but I wish I'd studied English, right? And I know that is an unpopular choice in this room. The reason I do that is because I really like language. Give me a cheer if you know a language. Statistically, it should be all of you. I love languages, and I love looking at the way that people get phrases and things confused. You know, like phrases in English as well. My favourite ones, people use the phrases "Is the Pope Catholic?" and "Do bears shit in the woods?" Right? People get those the wrong way around, don't they? They say, "Does the Pope shit in the woods?" and "Are bears Catholic?" It's a thing. I met someone who gets it even more confused than that, though. Right? I said to him, "So, were you a United fan?" And he went, "Is the Pope a bear?" No. Strange man. It's an even weirder one than that as well, as the weird use of language. I was at home and I got a letter through the post from the council tax people, right? And it said that I owed them some money. And my housemate saw the thing over my shoulder, and he said to me, "You've got to pay that bill, mate. Otherwise they're going to come after you like a ton of bricks." Not going to come after me at all, then. If anything, they're just going to sit in my garden. I like that kind of language. I like drunk language as well. Give me a cheer if you're drinking tonight. Of course you are. You're all doing a PhD. I like drinking. As is evident. I like drunk language though. I was up in Newcastle, which is where I'm from originally. Newcastle Laws, it was briefly renamed for marketing purposes, Sports Direct Upon Time. Don't laugh that hard, right? I'm from there. I was up there recently, and it was, I don't know how many of you are old enough to remember the 2012 Olympics, but what was that, sorry? No, you're right. In the Olympics we had some of the football up at St James's Park in Newcastle, right? And when we were there, there was a lot of lots of the sort of posh southern folk came up to watch the Olympic football, right? And they had to mingle with the nice people from Newcastle, right? And what happened was, I remember this very clearly, on the corner of a street in Newcastle, one man who'd just come out of the football. I don't know if you've ever met anyone who's so drunk they think they're at a football match even though they're not at a football match, right? He genuinely shouted the phrase, "I'm not singing anymore!" Which is incorrect. His hypothesis is flawed. Now, at this point, one of the posh people from the south who'd come up just walked behind him and went, "I think you'll find you are." That was wonderful, right? I do like that kind of thing, that's sort of fun, because I like being from the north. Like, how many people here are northern? How many southerners? Fine. No, I like the south. It's good. Someone's just like, "It's not. Don't need to prove it." No, I like the south. I do a lot of gigs in the south. For universities in general, I did a gig for Bristol University recently, right? Which was great, because originally I was booked to do a gig for Cambridge University, and then they rejected me, and I had to go to Bristol instead. It's supreme irony. No, I do like the south of it, but I like being from the north in general. Like I like the Geordie accent. Like, I know I don't have a very strong one, but my dad does, right? And my dad's a proper Geordie, the kind of man who eats coal for breakfast, right? So, it's a hand fruit. He's great. He's quite a religious man, though, right? My dad. And I remember when I was a kid, he used to read me Bible stories, right? But Bible stories in a Geordie accent sound better than Bible stories in any other accent. It's great because it sounds like the bloke from the Big Brother commercials. Day 3 in the universe. And God's in the kitchen, creating the heavens and the earth. And he looked at it and he thought, "Aye, it's kind of good that like I might do it again tomorrow." It's a stupid joke. Nail Jesus to the angel of the north. Fuck off, that's the best joke in the thing, right? I went to Edinburgh this year to do an Edinburgh Fringe show, right? And it was sort of reasonably well received, I think. It was quite good. And part of that was because you guys seem to be enjoying yourselves. You're having a really nice night. I'm going down all right. I might not be the best comedian you've ever seen, but this gig I did in Edinburgh, there was one man who I was definitely not the best comedian he'd ever seen, right? He hated me. Passion, right? I knew from the start, because what happens if you've never been at the Fringe, right, is you've got to stand outside and flyer your own gigs and try and get people into them, right? It's really hard. And I was doing this, and this one man came up to me, quite a large, slaphead kind of Glaswegian man, right? And he walked up to me and he went, "Are you funny?" And I went, "Yes." And he went, "Aye, you'd better be," right? He came and he saw the show and he spent the entire gig sat in the back row, just with his arms folded going. It got to the end and you do this thing at the Fringe where you sort of, no one pays to get in, but they sort of give you money on the way out if they enjoyed it, right? And he was the first one out because he'd been at the back for the entire thing. He walked past me, purposely dropped a £1 coin into the cup I was holding to collect money and just went, "I'm gonna find you. I'm gonna kill you." It's just horrible, right? I'll tell you a couple more things and I'm gonna go. So, as PhD students, you'll all be aware of daytime TV. So, right, I have a real job, okay? Well, sort of, I can drink at work, it's great. I'm going to tell you 2 more stories, I think, and then I'm going to go because I need to be one more story. Okay. You know what you said about it being a dictatorship, Tim? One more story. I am an alcoholic. What I'm going to tell you, one more story quickly. This is my favourite story, right? Because it's about me. What happened was, as I said, you're all aware of daytime TV. Give me a shout if you're a fan of quiz shows. Yeah, they're good, aren't they? Like my favourite one is University Challenge, right? But I'll get on to Pointless in a minute, right? My favourite one is University Challenge, right? Mainly because I went to Leeds Met and I was chosen to be on the Leeds University Challenge team because I cheated. I didn't even cheat, I just did really well, but I joined in the quiz thing when they were picking the teams in Old Bar, and then they let me on, and then I told them just before we were going to record an episode, and they threw me off the team. Now, the reason I bring it up is because I was on Pointless. You'll be pleased to know. Like, give me a cheer if you know Pointless. Yeah, it's good, isn't it? Like, basically, if you don't know it, it's a quiz show, and they give you a category, and you've got to name a sort of obscure thing in that category, right? And so I went on the show with my housemate at the time, Reese. I'll give you an idea of what kind of person a Reese is. He is a dick, right? As an example, we were given the category words ending in ARM, and Reese said arm, right? Now, and the reason I bring it up, and I'll leave you on this, right? What happened was Reese, we got to the final, okay? We were in the last bit. We picked a category, and the one we chose was UK garage music, which we didn't know anything about. Right? I don't even own a garage. But we got to the point where they're like, what are you going to spend your money on if you win, right? And they said it to me, they said, Jake, what are you going to spend the money on if you win? And I said, like a good little comedian, I'm going to spend it on a trip to the Edinburgh Fringe, right? Which isn't what happened, I spent it all on beer. But exactly, right? But this is why I bring the story up. What happened, and I'll leave you on this, guys, is I got asked what I was going to spend the money on. I said that, and they said, Reese, what are you going to spend the money on? And he did this, and this is why we made Pointless history, because we were the only people in the history of the show to ever have to re-record the entire second half of our episode, because we did something the BBC deemed unbroadcastable. Right? What happened was this, they said, Reese, what are you going to spend your money on? And he did this. Because we thought that was really funny. Guys, you've been lovely having Jake Donaldson.